Let's talk about one of the most important questions there is around being in the self-storage business. You know, when I'm working with someone, I usually ask them, why are you interested in self-storage? And I get answers like, well, it's a good sector, or I hear the cash flows very good, or it performed real well during the recession. I hear a lot of people say, it's something I looked at a few years ago, didn't get in, but I'm really wanting to get into it now. Those are all good answers, but they're not good enough. Let's talk about that. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. And what I do is I support the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to grow their self-storage business, strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth in a fulfilling career. And a few years ago, I did a series called Getting Started. And I went through what I perceive as some of the most important basic steps of getting started in the self-storage business. And I want to revisit that and redo that series, but in today's context, based on what's going on in the self-storage industry. And Tony Robbins has said that the quality of your life is a function of the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. You want a better life? You want a better business? Start asking better questions. So if you're a small investor who's getting in, attempting to get in, or looking at getting in the self-storage business as a way to make something possible for your life and your family's life that isn't there now, and the reason you think and you say you're doing it is because self-storage is a good sector, well, I don't think you're going to get in the self-storage business. Here's the thing. It takes way more time, way more effort, way more moving through challenges to get in the self-storage business today than it did even a few years ago when I originally did this series. And you're going to bump up against roadblocks and against obstacles and against markets that are overbuilt. And if what's driving you is it's a good sector, that's just not going to be strong enough to keep you going when the challenges arise. Look, I promise you, you're going to be thrown curveballs. I don't know what they are. I have an idea, but everyone in every deal, it's something different. All I know is that you will be thrown curveballs and you will hit some obstacles. That's a given today. And you're going to have to reach down and find strengths and find skills that you don't have right now. And they can only be developed as you brush up against the obstacles that are going to be in your way. And my experience is what keeps someone going is a very strong why. Why am I getting into this business? If you're not clear on it, and your why is not something that really motivates you and excites you and creates an immediate emotional response, you're probably not going to be in the self-storage business. It's probably going to be something that you looked at once and almost did. So let's get to the why. Why do you want to be in the self-storage business? Well, most people, either on the first or second lap around this question, will quickly get to the money. Yes, self-storage creates great cash flow. It can be literally a cash flow machine. But let me give you a hint. It isn't the money. Money's not the reason. If money is the reason, my coaching is that's not a strong enough reason. There's a lot of things that can generate money. When the going gets tough, and I'm banging up against some stuff right now as we're trying to change our business model on how we've raised money in the past, and we've been turned down for the third or fourth time, or you've been turned down for the loan for the third or fourth time, or you haven't been able to raise enough capital during the due diligence period, you're going to have something stronger than just making money as what's driving you. So if it's not the money, then what is it? I thought it was money. That's why everybody's in business. Well, no. The question is, what will the money provide you? Why are you seeking the money? What do you think the money is going to give you that you don't already have now? For many, it's that they want to run their own business and be their own boss and have their own freedom and fulfill on their own dreams rather than someone else's dreams. And they get that self-storage is a great vehicle for doing that, probably one of the best. That's what's driving them, not the money, but what the money offers that person. The ability to be their own boss, to fulfill on their own dreams rather than someone else's. Now that's worth getting up and banging up against all we've got to bang up against today to be in the self-storage business. That's something that will drive you, and as you're competing with larger players who have more resources and more money and can pay more, and you've got to go through 10 opportunities before you can get one, that's worth doing. Making money not going to carry the day in some of these circumstances. In my case, my father had always told me that he'd set up a trust so I don't have to worry about retirement. So I could go out and do what I wanted, build a company or do what I wanted to do, and don't worry about retirement. I've got you covered on your retirement. So I went out and focused on creating a commercial real estate business because I really enjoy commercial real estate. And in my 50s, I got clear that whatever my dad thought he had created, it wasn't enough to sustain me and my family through retirement, much less create any kind of legacy that I could pass on to future generations. So I'm getting clear in my 50s that I've got to do something, and I've got to get it done pretty fast, next 10 to 20 years. Now, creating a legacy for my grandkids and creating a retirement to fulfill on the promise I've given my wife that she's going to have a great life, that's what drives me. When I get out of bed and deal with what I'm dealing with in any given moment as I'm growing the self-storage company, that is a why that's worth giving 10 years of my life to. So what is your why? What can you create for yourself as a reason for getting in the self-storage business that will immediately create an emotional response that's worth giving the next 5 to 10 years to? Really create that why. So as we design, the first part of getting in the business, in the self-storage business, is to create a business strategy. But your business strategy all starts with why. Why are you getting into business? And you got to be crystal clear on that. It's got to be something that's in your conscious, not in your subconscious, but in you. I mean, you relate to it daily. Now, once you have your why, we'll talk about some strategies in a second. Now, the strategies are going to change and evolve. The why doesn't. The why almost always stays the same throughout your self-storage career. But once you have your why, then you can begin to design your strategy. For example, given what your why is, how big, how many facilities do you need? If your why is that you want to be your own boss and create a good living, earning $100,000 for yourself and your family, then 1 or 2 facilities will fulfill on that why. If you're trying to create something bigger or a legacy to pass on, it may take something way more than 1 or 2 facilities. But given what your why is, that will begin to inform you what type of storage you have to have, How big do you need to get? Are you getting in primarily for the cash flow? Are you getting in to create wealth? Are you getting in to create something for future generations? I would start to focus on those questions after you determine your why. Now again, they can change and alter as you grow and learn more, and I promise you they will. And it's not critical at this exact moment that you have the perfect answers to that. All of this is created. You're not searching for a why that already exists and you're trying to discover it. You're literally making it up. You are creating it. What type of storage you want to focus on. You're creating it. So given your why and given what you think you're looking for and how many you're looking for, the next part of a good business strategy is what strengths do you have? You know, for example, in my case, my strengths are, because I've been in a commercial real estate business, the ability to find deals, the ability to negotiate and work with other agents, and the ability to analyze. Those are real strengths I bring to the table. The other strengths that are needed to run a good self-storage business, like operations and dealing with employees, I don't have that strength. So I either have to hire it or I have to get partners. Being able to get multi-million-dollar loans on numerous properties, I don't have that strength. So I had to get partners who do have that strength. So I would walk through every step that it takes to be in the self-storage business, finding the properties, analyzing the properties, financing the properties, doing the due diligence on the properties, running the property, seeing where your strengths are and where you're going to have to bring other strengths in. And then are those going to be vendors, employees, or partners? That's how you begin to design a good business strategy. If you're interested in a business strategy worksheet, if you're on YouTube, you can click below and that will give you a link to a business strategy worksheet. If you're at creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com, reading or watching the video there on this episode, click here and you will get access to that worksheet if you want it. It'll take you through step by step on designing your business strategy for being in the self-storage business. My coaching is do this work first before you start looking and trying to find facilities. Or if you're already in the process of doing that, before you go preview the next facility, do this work. Because much of what you're going to look at, much of what you're going to find, the conversations you're going to have with real estate agents and owners, and even what you'll be looking for as you look at the offering memorandums and tour the property will probably be different because you've done this work. The next part of a good business strategy is what kind of returns do I need from any facility that I put into service. So given your why and given how you're organizing yourself, what type of returns do you need? You know, for example, I have to have over years 1 through 5 between at least 11 to 12% cash on cash returns, and I have to create enough value in the first 5 years to be able to refinance it and give the initial capital back. Now, I said in the book, Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, life gets very easy once you get clear on your business strategy. So as we're looking at properties, this property will either work or it won't work, or I have to get it at this price to have it work. Life gets very simple once you get clear on what your business strategy is. I run each deal that we're looking at or contemplating building or converting through a financial analysis model. If I can hit those benchmark numbers I have, it goes in one column. If it doesn't, it goes in the other. Then at any given moment when we're ready to pull the trigger, I look at the deals that are in the it could work column, organize them based on our interest level, and then go for them. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Now, I know your business strategy is going to grow and change and evolve. Mine has, it will. Your why will stay the same or stay very close to the same. The why is the most critical piece of the business strategy. Then we design our business strategy around the why. So next week,